Hello and welcome to Channel 18 TV News. I'm Don Julian, filling in for Jim Rogers. In the news, we start with two new officers have been hired by the Hopkins County Sheriff's Office by Sheriff Lewis Tatum. He tells us about it.
We've hired two new officers here. One is actually not new for us. She's been here before. She's coming back as a patrol sergeant. Amanda Weatherford will be coming back here in the next couple of weeks, and she'll be one of our patrol sergeants. And I think she's going to be very good and instrumental in online solicitation of minors too. She's been working that with our office while she's at Sulphur Springs PD, and she'll continue to do that. And we're very, very happy to have her back. And also, we've hired a new interdiction officer. Harry Washington. He's coming to us from Hunt County. He's bringing numerous years of experience with him, and he's already been here about 3 weeks, and he's doing a real fine job. We're real proud of him. He's going to be working interdiction on the interstate, as well as this human trafficking, which is been a real big push here lately about that, and I believe Harry will bring some expertise here that he'll also be able to train our younger officers, show them a lot of things in revenue that comes out of that we've not experienced before.
Well, Les, I believe that, with Sergeant Washington, is already proven to be quite successful in some interdiction as far as seizure of some fairly large quantities of cash.
Yes, here in the past about 3 weeks, so he has. He's had several good seizures. He's also was able to apprehend a subject that was out of Massachusetts coming through here with fake IDs that were he was allegedly involved in a murder in Massachusetts. Shot 2 people, and one had passed on. I know some investigators or detectives from Massachusetts flew down here last week to interview that subject, and he'll be, I'm sure, taking him back if they hadn't already. He found a subject also that was on parole for murder out of Little Rock, Arkansas, who wasn't supposed to be out of his area, and that is, I think that's pretty crucial to contact those type of folks and take them into custody, get them back where they belong.
When a Texas Parks and Wildlife officer noted a man attempting to drive through an area where a state park event was being held, he asked the man to turn around and go a different way. As the officer made that request, he noted 2 firearms in the vehicle, and a records check was conducted, and Billy Calhoun was found to have a prior felony conviction. He was placed under arrest for unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon. A 39-year-old Yantis man was stopped at the corner of Kyle and Fisher Streets in Sulphur Springs around 7:30 p.m. Saturday. The man was said to be unable to make eye contact and was clenching his jaw. A records check showed charges in Van Zant and Rusk counties. A search of the vehicle revealed a crystal-like substance believed to be methamphetamine within an arm sleeve on the center console. There was also a clear glass pipe containing a clear crystal-like substance believed to be meth located within an arm sleeve in the passenger floorboard. The officer was told that an attempt had been made to crush the sleeve when the stop was initiated. The stop was made within 1,000 feet of Austin Elementary at the time of the stop. Stacy Jordan Williamson is in Hopkins County Jail charged with possession of a controlled substance, more than 1 gram, but less than 4 grams, and with tampering and fabricating evidence with intent. He is held on bonds totaling $30,000 for the local charges. And now let's look at sports. Wildcats pitcher Tristan McCormick took a perfect game into the 5th inning, at Mount Pleasant, but had to settle for a 1-hitter as the Wildcats bludgeoned Mount Pleasant 10-0 in a game halted after 5 innings due to the 10-run rule. The leadoff hitter for the Tigers in the fifth hit a solid single to right, and there were a pair of errors in the inning, but McCormick pitched around them and preserved his shutout. McCormick worked 5 innings, allowing just 1 hit and no runs. He also struck out 7 and had no walks. The Wildcats hammered out a dozen hits. Mason Buck opened the game with a big home run off the Mount Pleasant scoreboard, and the Wildcats led 1-0. They added 2 more runs in the top of the second after Ryder Cadell singled and Michael Arnold doubled. Dawson Draper drove in 2 runs with a double. Then the Wildcats increased their lead to 5-0 in the top of the third. McCormick opened the inning with a walk. Arnold drove home a run with a double. Draper drove in Arnold with a double. The Wildcats doubled their score with 5 runs in the top of the fifth as they batted around. Cadell walked and Arnold singled. Draper collected his 4th and 5th RBIs in the game with his 3rd double, and then Millsap singled. Buck drove home a run with a sacrifice fly. Argenbright singled, and Golightly drove in a run with a single. McCormick drove in the last run with a sacrifice fly. Wildcats are now 9-1 in district play, and they are 15-6-1 for the season. Their next game is Tuesday night at Eagle Stadium as Greenville comes to town for senior night. And PA announcer Jeff Harris is also expected to provide lots of trivia about Eagle Stadium, which may be hosting its last game. Harris also wants to recognize anyone at the game who ever played at the old historic stadium. Well, this one hurt. The Mount Pleasant Lady Tigers used the long ball in a big defensive play to squeeze past the Lady Cats 5-4 at Lady Tiger Field in Mount Pleasant Friday evening. The loss dropped the Lady Cats into 3rd place. Mount Pleasant and Texas High are the district co-champs. The Lady Cats will now face Lovejoy late this week in by-district action. Game 1 at Lady Cat Park Thursday evening at 7. Game 2 will be in Lovejoy Friday at 7. And Game 3, if necessary, will be at Royce City Saturday at noon. Now here's more on that Friday game. Trailing 3-0 in the bottom of the third, Mount Pleasant got a 3-run home run to tie the score. Then trailing 4-3 in the bottom of the fifth, a Lady Tiger hit a 2-run home run to give the Lady Tigers a lead that they would not give up. And then the game changed in lightning fashion in the top of the sixth. The Lady Cats trailed 5-4, but they loaded the bases with just 1 out. Jay Dowdy and Kelsey Wallace drew 1-out walks. Allie Fight then put down a bunt for a hit, and the Lady Tigers went for a force-out at third. And Dowdy just beat the throw, according to the field umpire, and the bases were loaded. Macy Hollins then hit a little popper down the third baseline that looked like it would fall in front of the Lady Tigers' third baseman. But that third baseman made a diving catch and then turned and threw to third, catching a Lady Cat base runner off the base on the unusual double play. That improbable double play ended the promising inning. Lady Cats did threaten in the top of the seventh as Alyssa Abram led off with a single. She moved to second when Hannah Crowson was thrown out at first after a bunt. Then Brinkley Driver just missed one and flied out deep to right center, and Abram moved to third. Kristen Allen then grounded to short. The throw to first was low, but Mount Pleasant held on to it, and they celebrated the win. So for the Lady Cats, they end up 9-3 in district play and 22-7 for the season. Well, spring football got underway for the Wildcats after school Monday. It'll be ending on May 19th with the spring game. There will be 14 practices before that spring game. I talked with Wildcats defensive coordinator Tristan Abram on Monday. He said his goal for spring is to install the entire defensive scheme so that all that will be left for the fall will be review. Coach Abram agreed spring ball is very helpful for defensive linemen and linebackers especially. He said they get to tackle and be physical. Very little tackling occurs in the fall for fear of injury. Coach Abram said having spring practice last year was very good, and that the defense, as a result, had one of their best years in several years, and he credited spring ball for that solid year. Coach Abram wants to continue that progress. His goal is to have the best defense in the district this coming season. And he has quite a few players coming back on the defensive side of the ball. And Coach Abram also said there will be very little, if any, tweaks to the Wildcats' 4-3 defensive scheme that they played last year. And we also have baseball, not always about hits. Sometimes it's about timely hits. And Friday at Cumbie, the North Hopkins Panthers out-hit the Trojans 8-4, but still came out on the short end of a 4-3 score. Cumbie scored a run in the bottom of the first to lead 1-0. The Panthers tied the game with a run in the top of the third. Then Cumbie added 2 runs in the bottom of the fourth and a single run in the bottom of the fifth, and they had a 4-1 lead. North Hopkins managed 2 in the top of the seventh, but that's all they could get, and Cumbie had a 4-3 win. The Panthers had 3 errors, and they also left 9 runners on base. Cumbie had 1 error, and they left 5 men on base. And the two teams also played again on Monday. 4 members of the Saltillo Lady Lions track team qualified for regional in 4 events at an area meet recently. Sienna Collins had a terrific meet, winning the 3,200-meter run, the 1,600-meter run, and the 800-meter run. Brenda Castro also qualified for regional with a 3rd-place finish in the 3,200-meter run, 4th-place finish in the 1,600-meter run, and a 2nd-place finish in the 300-meter hurdles. Jocelyn Ochoa qualified with a 4th-place finish in the 3,200-meter run. Chaley Spears also qualified by finishing 4th in the 300-meter hurdles. Regional meet is this Friday and Saturday. Also scoring points in that area meet for the Lady Lions were Felicia Valenzuela with a 6th-place finish in the 200-meter dash and a 5th-place finish in the 100-meter dash. Danielle Ross got a point by finishing 6th in the 400-meter run. Ross also was 7th in the 200-meter run, and McKenna Weiler was 8th in the 3,200-meter run. And that's our Channel 18 TV news for today. Again, I'm Don Julian filling in for Jim Rogers, and thank you for joining us, and so long, everybody.
Shortly before dawn on the 18th day of October, here in Sulphur Springs, at Century Lake, the dam broke. A gap of some 20 to 30 feet wide as a full Century Lake cut through loose and started flooding the White Oak bottom. The word was first received at KSST shortly before 6 o'clock. The walkie-talkie and the mobile units got underway. A little later that morning, Don Scrimshire and the walkie-talkie, standing on the sound portion of the dam, made this cut-in with Jodan Avenger, mayor of Sulphur Springs, and his preliminary remarks on the break.
Well, of course, this is an unfortunate instance happened. Best we can figure out, this dam break occurred this morning somewhere around 6 o'clock, and there's about a 25 or 30-foot gap in our dam, and the water's pouring out very rapidly, and the lake has dropped something like 12 inches so far. And in the last 3 hours, about 3 feet more of the concrete dam has given away and gone, and we think it's going to hold pretty good and not causing serious flooding downstream. We were worried considerably about this thing for the people and livestock down White Oak Creek. But it looks like now that if the dam will hold, well, it'll just be a normal flow of water, which will probably, of course, get the creek bed will be full. We've just returned from out on the highway going to Cooper, and it doesn't seem to be any flooding down in that area. But we know it's going to take several days, probably 4 days, maybe 5, for this water to run out of here. It's a loss, all right. We're going to lose shouldn't get alarmed about being out of water. We've got on hand, or will have, a year's supply. And we've already notified the engineers and the architect. And as soon as the water runs down, well, we'll get them right on it and hope to get this repaired so that we can catch the winter rains.
Actually here, though, we're getting the cart before the horse, for it was a little bit earlier that Buddy Funderburk in his own mobile unit broke the news of the break. Let's cover that story at this point.
And I have bad reports for this morning because I'm sitting at the scene of Century Lake looking down the long levee that we've all enjoyed so much, and there seems to be a great big hole in the levee at Century Lake. The water is running out pretty fast, and you can tell that the water level is dropping very fast. I have Pete Wright in the car with me. Pete, do you have any idea what happened?
Buddy, I don't have any idea what happened. Of course, there's been some seeps in the dam for a couple of years. There's been a little water coming out, not a whole lot. And I didn't know about this. Archie just called me about 10 minutes ago. In fact, I haven't had a chance to even report to the city. But the dam is gone. It's busted just this side of the little spillway. It's about 20 or 25 feet wide all the way down. And there's no question about it. It's going to drain Century Lake.
Hey, Don, thank you very much. We're here at Century Lake where the dam has broken, and the span that has crumbled away is right at the point where the spillway was located. There was, I believe, according to what word we've received here, maybe a little bit of a leak there, which evidently developed into a big crumbling operation, and now there's only, well, the hole in the dam is about 25 feet across, I'd guess. I have the mayor, Joe Dan Avenger, here with us this morning, and he'd like to say a word or two, I think, to the folks down White Oak Creek from Century Lake.
I believe it's only fair that we give notice to the people down White Oak that this break might develop and get larger. At the present time, and if the dam will hold, I think that it'll be all right. But we don't know just how much more this dam is going to go out, and only fair to notify the people that floods from this dam could get very bad and could get bad quickly. At the present time, it's running out about what would be coming over the top of the spillway.
That then was the part of the big story on the big day, the 18th day of October, the day the dam broke. And it was water that continued to make the news. During the first 6 days of November, we got 5 inches of rain. Well, what did the rain mean? Well, first of all, it meant a new break in the already broken Century Lake Dam, a break that ran the total gap in that dam up to some 80 feet and caused still further damage.